Nuestro programa. I'd like to call on our past president, Junjun Dairit, for the... call order muna. Okay. Neil Benaki, sentence usted. Okay. We'd like to call on our president for him to call to order the meeting today.
On behalf of the Rotary Club Makati, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Okay, grazie. For the invocation, we'd like to call on our past president, the good-looking Conrado Junjun Dairit.
May I request everyone to please rise? Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Lord, once again, thank you for gathering us this afternoon for our regular club meeting. We thank you for the help you have given us to be able to attend the meeting. We also thank you for all of the projects that come our way, opportunities for us to be able to serve our fellow men, especially those who need our assistance, those who are economically challenged. We thank you this afternoon for our guest speaker who will speak to us about an important matter that we can consider and perhaps join. And just thank you for everything that we take for granted, like the air we breathe, the water that comes out of our faucets every morning, the electricity that we enjoy, the democracy that we enjoy in this country. For all of this, Lord, we praise and thank you, and we ask that you be with us for this entire meeting and enlighten us as we go along. Thank you. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Muchas gracias, June. Okay, we now have our national anthem.
Witness a history in our lifetime as we bring back to life what a true Rotarian should be. Service above self, unity in diversity, and inclusivity, all for one and one for all. This is our chance. This is our time to rise up and be the example of what humanity can achieve. Together, let's create hope in the world. So let us sing with one voice the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, dalas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinagang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin. Lumalang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mga to aid our fellow men. As true Rotarians we live to lead. We believe in service above self, and this is why we succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, giving hope to the world. The Rotary Club of Makati.
Siéntese usted, por favor. Now we go to the four-way test. Okay. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And lastly, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And this is now we go to the acknowledgement of guests. For our dignitaries, we have two good-looking gentlemen who are our dignitaries. Past District Governor Antonio Quila, and the equally good-looking District Governor nominee from the best school, Reggie Nolido from Ateneo. And that's the other school in the south. And we have Anne Camille. Uy, guapa, makasya. And our guest, Anton Cabrera, guest of DGN Reggie Nolido. Mike Q, guest of Director Julian. Lance Bosch, son of Rotarian James Bosch. JP Cabalza, Executive Director of Multinational Foundation, Inc. Teacher Paz B. Fernandez, Multinational Foundation, Inc. Jamie Lynn Lopino, RCMI Hill Beneficiary. Okay. From the Rotary Club of Makati, Nico de la Cruz. Mark Hill Cato. And two beautiful ladies from RC Makati San Lorenzo, TGP Lay Cuallar, and Sheila Belmoro. And from the Daily Tribune, Catherine Jose. Hola. And from RAC Makati, Darla Leonardo. Oh, that's that. Okay, hi, Darla. Okay, now we go to our welcome song, El Gobernador, Reggie. Louis, our future governor, Louis Asioche. Welcome song.
I think why all the members of the Rotary should sing and sing the welcome song.
Yeah.
Right?
Friends of Rotary, all friends of Rotary.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Now we go to greetings to birthday and wedding anniversary. Okay. On September 16, muy guapo, Gani Buenaflor, the RC Maker. And George Drysdale on September 16. And for our Rotarian, today, Angela Kila. Yeah, feliz cumpleaños. September 16, Ditas Antonino. And for 17 September, Sharina Garcia. Now, anybody who has a club function or committee can approach. Magkakanta pa pala. El Gobernador,
Where's
Reggie Nolino
Ah,
will sing and Lumi
yeah.
Dioche.
A cappella. Okay. Wala.
Okay. Rico, hola, ¿qué tal?
We need to do this a cappella.
Okay, sige.
I'll
Reggie
take
and-
off from your page.
And Lumi.
To our birthday celebrators and to our wedding anniversary celebrators. Guys, let's all sing for them. It's your birthday, their wedding day. Let's celebrate this important day. We greet you deep in our hearts, dear. A happy birthday and happy wedding.
Wow,
Muchas,
you look like
muchas
Hepburn.
gracias, caballero.
Audrey Hepburn. Or
Now, any announcement? Any member, officer who wants to make Eduardo? You have announcement? Nada? Any announcement?
There's a golf tournament on September 19th for all the golfers.
Yeah.
Be sure to be there. I think Lee is supposed to talk about Tugtugan.
It's Tugtugan, not Yugan. Okay.
Good afternoon,
Here.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you again for inviting me to this to the meeting of Rotary Club of Makati, to my classmate Bing and to Ron. I am inviting everyone to join us and support our benefit concert called Tugtugan 72. Tugtugan 70 would appeal to most members as this is the decade of our decade, the bands of our times. It includes VST and Company, Wadab, Labuyo, Sampaguita, Marcos Season, Lea Navarro, there. Else today, Hagibis is there. Yeah. So Boyfriends will also be there, and Roy Magtota of Wadab. So it will be on September 15th, 8 p.m. at Newport Performing Arts Theater, formerly known as Resorts World. Should you need tickets, I'm here. That's the reason why I'm here. All the benefits of this concert will be going to the different groups that we support. There's Tuloy sa Don Bosco. We have also Mother Teresa and other activities that we'll be doing that I have prepared for our club for this year. So I hope you can extend your support to our club and at the same time enjoy the dancing and singing on September 15th. Thank you so much.
Nada. Okay, we now proceed to the turnover of check to heal program. I'd like to call on Mr. JP Cabal. Ven aquí, por favor. Wow, that's a big check. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We'd like to call on Teacher Paz to say a few words. Teacher Paz to say a few words. A picture.
Pleasant afternoon to everyone. The Multinational Foundation, together with the Rotary Club of Makati, as its partner, has been continuously supporting out-of-school youths and underprivileged learners for the past 6 years. This partnership opened the doors of opportunities to many children who wanted to pursue their studies, but unfortunately, due to financial difficulties, couldn't do so. It is indeed inspiring that one day we have played an important role in achieving their dreams in life. From the total 10 beneficiaries of the Rotary Club of Makati, we are pleased to inform you that one beneficiary recently graduated from senior high school last May and is now continuing her college education through the sponsorship of Multinational Foundation. At present, we are still in the process of the recruitment and thorough selection of the slot vacated by the recent graduate. We believe that every learner should not only be honed academically, but also spiritually. Thus, a recollection, confession, and mass was held last July at the Rogationist Seminary in Parañaque to give these learners spiritual guidance in their lives. Aside from the one-on-one tutorial mentoring of our volunteer student teachers, they were fortunate enough to be taught last month by the education students who belongs to the FINMA National Scholarship Foundation. We would like to thank and acknowledge the support of the previous officer, President Michael Escaler, and Director Ferdy Ordobesa, and the present officer, President Henen Magtoto, thank you very much, sir, and the Director Rodrigo Segura for their continued support in our advocacy. Once again, our heartfelt thanks to the Rotary Club of Makati Community. May the partnership continue to blossom and be able to transform the lives of many children who will all be productive members of our society. More power to the Rotary Club of Makati. Thank you very much.
Yes, gracias, Teacher Paz. Now we call on our very energetic El Presidente, Senor Bing Matoto, for President's Time.
Thank you very much, Boy. And good afternoon, fellow members and guests. I'm happy to report the successful completion of not just one, but two breast and cervical cancer screening projects for this Rotary year. Last Friday, we reached out to the community in Navotas, and the very next day, we continued our mission in Las Piñas. Together, we provided the vital screening procedure for 200 women in need. I'd like to extend my gratitude to PN Eddie Galvez, EP Cesar Campos, Boy Arteche, and his son Juan for their unwavering support and commitment to this noble cause. I'd also like to acknowledge the remarkable efforts of PP Cesar Campos and his daughter, Mary B., who played a pivotal role in ensuring the project's smooth execution. As I mentioned last week during our POB presentation, one of our key objectives this year is to enhance member engagement. To achieve this, we've introduced several exciting programs. The Cluster Scheme Revival. We have breathed life into the cluster scheme to empower cluster heads, enable them to effectively mobilize the members, and I'd like to encourage the cluster heads and the cluster members to please participate in this scheme, which is meant really for fellowship more than anything else. No? Second, meeting raffles. Would like to encourage member attendance at our luncheon meetings, and we will be introducing raffle draws as we started, in fact, last week. No, and your presence can make a significant difference. And then membership recruitment. We recognize and appreciate the efforts of members who successfully invite new members to join our Rotary family. To show our gratitude, we will be providing recognition and rewards. For our service projects, we encourage your active involvement. When we receive a project proposal, we ensure that our members play a vital role in reviewing, meeting with project proponents, and making recommendations to the board, which basically means you don't have to be a committee chair to be able to put together a proposal, or in fact, to participate in the discussion and merits of a particular project proposal. We're really trying to spread the participation of members in evaluating proposals that come our way. No? And of course, always making a recommendation and trying to fit it within our budget is always a challenge. In this regard, I would like to express my appreciation to members like Leo De Leon, David Nityanantan, Paulo Turno, of course, Nico Dairit, and others have already stepped up to be part of the review committee. Your dedication is invaluable in making a positive impact on our communities. In terms of membership recruitment, I'm pleased to announce that as of today, we have successfully inducted 3 new members. Arman Kataga, I think he's here, but Bitoy Lon is right here right now. Bitoy, let's welcome again Bitoy. And Philip Malyari, who was also not here. Both Bitoy and Philip are recruits of IPP Michael. Additionally, we have 1 more new member scheduled for induction at our next meeting, Mr. Shiju Vargese. This brings to our total to 4 new members. We're just 1 induction away from meeting the September 30 target of 5 new members. Your support and cooperation in identifying and inducting 1 more member before the end of this month would be greatly appreciated. Please note that there will be no luncheon meeting next week to accommodate our Service Project Week activities. We invite and encourage all of our members to join us during this time as we work together to make a difference in the lives of those we serve. On Saturday, 16 September at 10 a.m., we'll have the launch of our supplemental feeding program in Cabuyao, Laguna. I don't think Freddie Borromeo is here. Now, this lunch after this activity will be hosted by IPP Michael Escaler. Thank you, IPP Michael. While on Thursday, 21 September at 8:30 a.m., please join us as we participate in the Peace Forum at the Asia Pacific College Auditorium, Makati. We have reserved 10 seats for our club for this event. Please join us. Additionally, would like to remind, of course, on the fellowship front, our RC Makati golfers about the first leg of the District Golf Club on September 19 at Riviera Golf Club in Silang, Cavite. Lastly, I'm quite excited to announce that we have a joint meeting scheduled with RC Manila on October 10 at 12 noon to be held at the Manila Polo Club. We are honored to have Rotary International President-elect Stephanie Urchik as our guest of honor and speaker for this prestigious event. To ensure that we can accommodate all interested members, we kindly request that you confirm your attendance with our Secretariat on or before September 15. The reason why we're doing is because we have a quota, so to speak, or allocation of 100 participants for that event, another 100 coming from RC Manila. But we would like to give priority to the members. Now, In the event that we are unable to fill up the 100, which is probably likely, we then intend to open it up for registration to other Rotarians in our district. So with that, I'd like again to request for your cooperation to please confirm with Ron Dotaro as soon as possible your availability to attend that joint meeting with Rotary Club of Manila. Thank you very much.
Okay, Eduardo. Okay, come. Ven aquí. Caballeros, past president, muy guapo, Eduardo Yap.
Muchas gracias, caballero. If I may just say something, President Bing, because at the last meeting, when the plans and objectives of the club were presented, we had no time for participation from the members. I would like to refer you to the to our club song and to the images that are being shown to accompany the club song. You will remember that before, in the years past, we always have a new club song. Okay, until my term, I had a generic song composed that will be used for all administrations. And the song starts with, "This is our Rotary Club." If you look at the images being shown year after year, in most years, that is, our visiting Rotarians or even our new members may not realize the depth of our club. It is one of the few, very few institutions in our district with a history of more than 50 years. But if you look at the images, it reflects only activities during the immediate preceding Rotary year and of this year. Now, no images about the history of our club. We are what we are today. For instance, the club has a budget of 47 million pesos. Before, we had only 6.5 million at the most. Now, why is this so? It's because of our predecessor, the endowment that was given to our club, but it's not reflected in the images. So this is just my comment for you to consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PP Eddie, and we certainly take note of your comments, and we will ensure that we will request our staff to modify our videos to be able to reflect precisely the, I guess, the legacy of our club. You're very right about it. If there's one thing that our club should really be very proud of, we're celebrating our 58th year already for this year. So, yes, we will take that into consideration. Thank you, Eddie.
Grazie, amigo. Now I'd like to call on the good-looking director, Senor Nel Macashar, to introduce our guest speaker. Neil, ven aquí.
Thank you very much. My idol, Comrade Boy. So, protocol observed. Our guest speaker is the chairman of JAD GC Holdings, a conglomerate of several strategically aligned outsourcing businesses in manufacturing, logistics, distribution, research and development, information technology, and human resource. He is also a seasoned professor and guru at the Ateneo Graduate School of Business and at the Asian Institute of Management. On a day-to-day basis, he now leads the 4 foundations under the Bayan family of foundations as chairman and president. Bayan family of foundations seeks to promote social entrepreneurship and democratize education in this country. He is passionate about entrepreneurship as evidenced by his various awards conferred upon him by international and local organizations, such as one of the 10 outstanding young men of the Philippines in the field of entrepreneurship in 2003, and in 2004, one of the 10 outstanding young persons of the world by the Junior Chamber International. Recently, he was a recipient of the prestigious AAA awards from the Federation of AIM Alumni Associations. So without further ado, like for me, he is happily married to his wife, Dina, and while his resume glitters with a lot of accomplishments, to me and my wife, Camille, he is a dear, valued friend. So ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker today, Professor Francisco J. Bernardo III.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Neil, for he actually invited me to come here, and thank you for having me here. And of course, thank you. It's my honor to be speaking in front of the Rotary Club of Makati. So I only have 20 minutes. Professors, I asked that question because the professors usually are given 1 hour to 1 hour 20 because we're very talkative. But I only have 20 minutes to say something. So I'll try to hasten it up, and I try to make it as much pictures as possible so you don't have to read anything. No, but let me start by talking about what was JAD GC all about anyway. Several years ago, about 30 years ago to be precise, I started a company called JAD, which was the we manufacture different products for consumer goods. I entered Johnson & Johnson as a production supervisor at the night shift. And I was a scholar of because my father was a teacher. Some of you know my father was a teacher of LaSalle before, and the first son was free of education, so that was me. So I was a scholar not because of talent, but because of blood. No? I joined Johnson & Johnson, but later on, I became an industrial engineer, and later on, I was in charge of productivity improvement programs and cost reduction. And later on, joined AIM in '91, again as a scholar of my father, who also moved to AIM and became the dean. But during the time, I actually went into cotton buds manufacturing. I learned about cotton buds manufacturing, and my first ever business official business is doing the sticks of the cotton buds. I made a proposal in a short piece of paper to my bosses, and which they were able to try, and they started outsourcing the cotton buds to me. I did not have any money then, and I was about to get married, so I was a bit desperate on how I'm gonna feed my family. Apparently, that has worked out very well, and I'll give you some of the lessons that I have learned along the way. And eventually, we manufactured 70% of all Johnson & Johnson products: oil, cologne, lotion, shampoo, bath. I converted this into this is me starting up a business before, just on cotton bud sticks. And my Old Testament my Old Testament was about making millions, accumulation, how to make millions. That was my first mantra as an entrepreneur. And I did a lot of, most of my business came around the logic of labor arbitrage, which is the difference between manufacturing for multinationals and putting up your own. So this is the cotton buds, which we used to do, and I started with that, and now I have the plant in Thailand. It's called Queens. And then we went into liquid manufacturing, which is oil, cologne, lotion, shampoo, bath. And then I went into paper products manufacturing. I make all the Modest, Stay Free, Carefree products. And I started to convert a lot of my cost centers into profit centers, realizing that I'm a subcontractor. I have to maintain my costs. I I subdivided the company so that most of them will become, and it became the JAD Group of Company Holdings, wherein all the companies are under one roof but are actually all profit earners. No? So when we did this, the logistics warehousing group became Chase Logistics, and now up to today I serve Pfizer, White Swaco, and Port Dodge, and others, no, nationwide for all their products. Um, this is my manufacturing company now, doing for Unilab, Tupperware, Human Nature, and PepsiCo. I run the quality assurance of all the quality assurance of Procter and Gamble, Kimberly Clark, and we have a small operations of distribution in the Southern Tagalog region for Johnson & Johnson and RFM. Later on, I entered the technology world, and I opened a startup village, wherein we did incubation facilities that can help startup entrepreneurs. And we went very heavily on technology and the creation of apps. And then I wanted to expose a lot of people around the world, so I brought a lot of my students and fellow entrepreneurs to look into the headquarters and get in the knowledge directly from the source. So we went to Google, Facebook, Instagram, and talked to the main drivers of those institutions to tell us what's happening as part of their experiential learning. And some people might say, and most of the time, I've been known for doing talks on opportunity seeking. And every time I tell people, people ask me, where do I find opportunities? I always give this lecture. I'm not gonna give the whole lecture today, but this is my very famous lecture that I always give. It's called Wei Qi, which is in Chinese. It's actually it means crisis, and it's spelled with two characters. You know, the first character meaning danger, and the second character meaning opportunity. And I tell people all the time that if you're going to go into business, that it's the best place to look for it. It's actually just look into your personal crisis or other people's crisis, and you will find the opportunity there. To give you a very good example of this is me and my driver visited one of my students who was running a bus terminal in Manila. It's called Park and Ride. And when I went there, I realized that the bathroom was very, very dirty. And we started teaching this. And as an example, I was teaching one time about doing business out of your irritants or your uh, your your crisis, no? And what happened was one of my students said, sir, the MRT and the LRT bathrooms are also dirty, and so are a lot of public restrooms around the Philippines. And maybe we should do something about it. And we encouraged her to do it. And then she came up with this logo. Oops, sorry. She came up with this logo. And she said, I'm going to create the logo, the Jollibee of all restrooms. And you see that logo that's going to be clean and complete amenity restroom toilet. No? The year after that, I formed the Restroom Association of the Philippines. So I'm actually the original Banyo King. I'm the president and founder of the Restroom Association of the Philippines. And so in 2002, we had so many people support us and joined our foundation. And we were inducted then by Senator Gordon. And the year after that, I became a director of the WTO, the World Toilet Organization, which is a global institution. And just to show you that from a small irritant, from a small crisis, you could actually create wonders. No? And this is now our president from Singapore, from the World Toilet Organization. And I applied this learning, and I went to this Park and Ride, and remember this, and I was with my driver, and we saw this bathroom, And I said, why don't I invest on a better restroom? I will pay you the same amount of money that is paid that 7-Eleven is paying you for rental in your area, but I will run the bathroom, a cleaner bathroom for you, for the people, no? Especially the people coming from the province, because they deserve a better option than the free toilet. And I created the toilet for them, and this is what it looks like. It won the best public toilet of the Philippines by Manila, and it is earning about 20,000 a day on fees alone. And the person running it is my driver, who I had to give a suit from. And he, up to now, comes back to me and says, "Sir, I have another restroom to operate." We were able to break even in 5 months' time. And then he now gives me salary every month, and the rest he can keep. So that's what our operation is. No, this this type of style is very entrepreneurial, you might say. No, but as I enter a new chapter of my life, I call it my New Testament. What does it take to impact millions? Which is really contribution. And I found that it was much, much more difficult to make millions than to impact millions. Some of you know this guy. This is Dr. Ed Moroto. He passed away about 2 years ago. And he started the Bayan Family Foundation, which I was a director of. He was also one of my gurus at AIM. When he passed away, he asked me if I could, before he passed away, he asked me if I could lead Bayan Family Foundations. And I didn't know whether I'm the one that should lead it because I was very entrepreneurial. I knew how to make money, but not to impact money, not to impact people. The other person that passed away about a year and a half ago was my father, who also pushed me to be the best that I could be for others. These two, together with me getting COVID, almost death, about a year and a half ago as well, about 2 years ago, I mean. I was in the hospital for 88 days. My sugar was from high normal of 100 to 600. My lungs were inflamed by 3 times. And when I got out, I asked myself, why am I back? Why was I brought back? And the answer to that was for me to do what my mission was, which to find out my New Testament was to impact millions and find ways to do so. I didn't have to think about what has to be done. When I went out, I was more depressed, and I saw some of our enterprises around town, and I started making design projects. This is out of driftwood, which I designed. I designed my whole life as I was in my COVID, no? In order for some workers in Dumaguete to have impact, to get money to be able to create these projects, and which made them a lot of money during the during the COVID period. Later on, I started my quest to start Bayan Family Foundations, and people are asking, what's Bayan Family Foundations? We went first to taking a look at what social enterprises had, what they went through along the way. We did conduct studies and interviews, and we also looked into the solutions and the support that they were asking for and what they needed before we actually went into our ways. So BFF, I fondly coined it. Instead of Bayan Group of Foundations, we called it the Bayan Family of Foundations. So we are your BFF. The Bayan Family is an ecosystem of foundations that uplift social enterprises and advance social impact projects. Today, as I was talking to your president and other members of Rotary, I realized that we're not alone in this field of doing this, no? And maybe we can actually come together in doing this effort. Bayan Family Foundations is now composed of 4 different groups. The Bayan Innovation Group that conducts our research on impact assessments and of how we could make difference in TESDA and in other groups as well. No, Bayan Academy that provides the training, Bayan Search that forms the community and teaches the community how to set up, Bayan Edge that used to be a microfinance institution, but now we went into impact investments so that people can fund projects of social enterprises. So we started rolling out, going to different projects online, and I started my life as a foundation president and chairman, opening up different places around. We partnered with the Ayala group of companies, so we are starting to open up a lot of small spaces for entrepreneurs to be able to display their products and earn more. We're more for the long term than just the quick fix. In September last year, I was shocked to be invited by Meta USA to speak as the first speaker of the United Nations General Assembly. I was not a Filipino delegate. I was a Filipino invited by Meta. And I was very honored to do so because their topic was about women entrepreneurship and about social impact investment. And they asked me to do this because we've been running most of the Meta programs on those lines for the last 6 years, graduating about 30,000 women entrepreneurs. And it was my honor to be able to do that for our country. Just a week ago, I was talking about this. I was asked by the AFP, and I was talking. I had several different generals in my house, and we came up with the Art of War, which is the AFP Revolutionary Transformation for the willing, able, and ready. And this is a call in order to create entrepreneurship for peace projects rather than fighting, because the root cause of all this insurgents is about poverty. It's about not having a livelihood, and therefore we should be able to drive better efforts and create military effort in providing and teaching people how to do this rather than to fight them. We also embarked on a project similar to Netflix, wherein education will be democratized and be available to a lot of people at a cheaper price. It will be made available, all the best speakers and all the AIM and Bo Sanchez, Francis Kong, and all the others will now be made available for 20 pesos a month for the poor. So that those who are lending money, like Banco or all the others, MFIs, they don't just lend money, but they support them by learning on demand because they don't have time to go to school. And therefore, at 20 pesos a month, then they could make it available, and hopefully we will hit our millions. We already had a commitment of about 450,000 people signed up for this. So how do I get involved? And maybe this is, I was reflecting about this, and some of the things that we do is that we have an immersion program called Grab a Seat. SEAT stands for Social Enterprise Advocacy Tours, wherein we actually organize. When you go on your next vacation with your family or your friends, we encourage you to visit some social enterprises and learn what they are doing, what products they're doing, and what they're doing for the community. Don't just make it a tour. Enjoy, and you would see how much it changes the youth. Actually, the youth are the ones that are more changed now about the environment, about helping, and this type of trips will really help a lot of people get understand what we all do, together in Rotary. Of course, supporting the products by gift giving. We could also do this. This Nespresso is already replaced by a social enterprise called Cafe for You, which does Nespresso capsules for farmers, for Filipino farmers in Nespresso capsules. So in my house, there's no more Nespresso capsules. It is already replaced by this group. And my rice, it's already by Fico Adlay, a cooperative. So start giving and make them start making money out of their products. Your corporate CSR, if you belong to a company, maybe you could do something all the CSR programs of Meta, of BPI, of Citibank, are done together with us. And we do efforts not just for entrepreneurship, but for employment as well, because we need help to teach skills to different local government units, areas, and the people around that area. By being a brand ambassador, you could actually be a mentor or an influencer or in helping us promote social enterprises. By providing scholarships and training for people that might need it. It doesn't have to be anybody big. Remember, I was talking about 20 pesos a month. It can be your maids. It can be other people within the group, within your own circle of friends. And this is, we used to do microfinance investing, and we closed that down to this year because we said, why are we lending money? We're making money out of the poor. We should be placing money rather than lending money because we used to get 3% interest from the poor. And we closed it down. We gave it to other institutions as well, to Banco, and we started doing impact investments. So you could be an impact investor as well. And then to make it part of your daily life, as I was mentioning, I slowly look around in my house and I start replacing the products that I used to have on a day-to-day basis with products that support communities. And lastly, maybe by doing this, we've started a short talk today, but I think it's going to be a bigger effort if we join forces in some of the projects that we are, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, because we are also all over the world, all over the Philippines, and sometimes in parts of the world, and we are doing the same thing. We are trying to uplift the poor. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think we in Bayan, we will be a good strategic partner for you guys to consider. So let me remind you and close by saying this. Let's not forget this crisis. Wei Qi. Some of my Chinese friends tell me you could say it in the reverse. Qi Wei. And maybe I'd like you to remember it that way. Qi Wei. Because I want everybody to think of the opportunity first before we even think of the crisis. That in every crisis, the Philippines will be in crisis, is in crisis, and will be in crisis for the next couple of years. But if we look at it this way, then we are the land of opportunity, and we will not allow other people to take that opportunity from us. It is not how much we accumulate, but rather how much we contribute. Thus, we should find bigger and better and bolder ways to impact other people's lives. Maraming salamat po, and thank you again for the invite.
Muchas gracias, Professor J. Bernardo. Now, we now proceed to the question portion. So, anybody? We have the mic there. Oh, yeah, sí. Ven aquí. We have a mic here. Por favor. Ito. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon po. I'm past President MG of Rotary Club of Makati, and I appreciate your presentation po. I'm just curious about the lectures part. Do you do you get like volunteers to teach those lectures? And those lectures, are they covering several courses for college students?
That's aside from me, the whole brand ambassadors are actually a lot of mentors and entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of them. Most of what you hear before the Go Negosyo angel entrepreneurs are mentors. They can actually do the talks as well, and it covers the whole spectrum. No? from starting a business to expanding the business, from enterprise development to marketing to operations to finance to the whole operation of a business. Definitely you could write us for that, and we could provide you the proper people that you'll need for different for your different college activities.
Thank you. Follow-up question. For instance, if I want to, share my skills and knowledge to those unfortunate kids, how can I?
Yeah, so the reverse is that you just come to us, and of course, what we will do is we will realign, because we want to make sure that whatever you teach others is aligned with us, and then from there we will try to make you a brand ambassador. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. It just means that you are willing to be an advocate and be willing to help out and reach out to other people, especially social enterprises.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. District Governor nominee, Reggie.
Very inspiring, Jay. We'd like to congratulate you for the good work that you do, and hopefully we can collaborate on a lot of things. One of the experiences that we've had with social enterprises before is that while we help the businesses start up, usually it's the sustainability of the business, especially when there is already a need to scale up. We help them market their products, they get more orders, but then they don't really have the operations to be able to fulfill orders. So how is it that you can address issues like that, for social enterprises?
Yeah. So we realized this now. So when we made the ecosystem. The startup support, they need grants. The scaling up, they need different sets of money already. For example, just for finance. No? So we talked to some of the banks, and now they're going to be providing a PO, purchase order financing. We also talk to impact investors, which means that they will now have the opportunity to pitch, and yet the impact investors will get out of their company in 3 to 5 years' time. Most of them, what we do is that if there's a social enterprise, we call it the Avengers. No, we put together a team that will support you, an Avenger team. No, so normally it would be somebody that would be good in particular things, whatever you are doing. It could be in operations, it could be blah. Especially that has to be within your area. No? We tied up with the AIM Alumni Association, so we're doing this so that the support of mentors will be there. And this team that helps you out is not part of your organization. It's just people with super strengths on particular topics in order for you to be able to be guided. The next thing that we did also is in technology skills. We invested on a lot of technology products wherein you could actually keep, if you're familiar with all these products, QuickBooks and all the accounting softwares, we created one for retailers, for small, medium enterprises, so that they can already record their operations using their phone. So these are being addressed, but of course we lack a lot of manpower to be able to do this, and that's one of the things that we might be able to collaborate on. Because as I said, when I look into this room, I was talking to your president. I was saying, to me, in my mind, these are the Avengers, and there's the wisdom in this room is so overwhelming that if we could only make it available to those enterprises, I think they would be able to manage their business better without interfering and becoming the investor himself. Okay, so that may be another way of doing it.
Thank you for that, sir. And then hopefully we can collaborate together in a lot of these ventures. At saka, sir, I don't think one answer this afternoon is sufficient to really flesh out all these plans. Sana po we can sit down and actually plan things out in how
Yeah.
it is that we can help out specific enterprises.
That's
Thank you, sir.
good.
Thank you. I love that. too.
Yes. Roger. Ladies first, Roger. See, please. Por favor.
DG and Reg, you said that you'll sit down and talk about it, but I have ADHD, so I can't wait anymore. At present, the start of the Rotary year has just started. We're just 2 months into the presidency, me and TGP being Matoto, and we are preparing for programs that we can implement in the balance of the Rotary year. Just off the bat, are there crisis situations right now that you think would be a potential, um, you know, potential source of a social enterprise that we can work on for our club? Off the bat, just like any quick ideas that you have in mind or something that you've been marinating in the past months that you would want to come to life.
Are you talking about a business that should be opened up or um
Something that can involve Rotarians.
what I'll just give you a example because last week I was been influenced by talking to all these generals, and we were talking about the Ukraine Russia war and impending and might happen China Philippine war, and we were saying maybe it's time to involve the people um, and opening up your camps and getting people involved in a fun way to get themselves physically fit, do paintball shootings, learn the values of discipline, love of country with the military and all that stuff. But they said we don't know how to run this. We don't know how to run this type of an institution. We just know how to fight.
Yeah.
So we were talking about. Also, I said I'm gonna put the people that will, but you have to provide the facility because you have a big camp, and maybe we can do this together. It'll be fun. For people will post about it very nicely, and yet we will be able to prepare and stand up in case we are called for, but not directly saying that, no, because we didn't want to. We don't instigate war. We instigate peace, and also teach entrepreneurship, make people learn about it, so that maybe the people up in the mountains or other people hiding will be able to come up with business and has no time to fight. No, so this was very hot in the table. And the generals was looking at me and said, well, we don't know anything about it and we don't know where to get the money. I said, I know where to get the money. Everybody that supported Ukraine will support this program.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to send us bullets anymore or whatever weapons for fighting, but weapons to be able to change us positively. So something like this might be a good project to come together with.
Thank you for your suggestion. Apparently, one of our co-presidents, Raul de Rosario, is an ex-general of the Philippine Air Force. So we can discuss it with him. Thank
Okay.
you.
Grazie. Roger, ven aquí.
I have two questions, one for me, one for June. Okay. So the first question is from me. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I know the most difficult investment is social enterprises. And so when I look at your ecosystem, I say, wow, this is almost like utopia, right? So my question is, what's your survival rate of social enterprises that you incubate? And what is the number one or number two or two reasons that distinguishes good founders from not good founders? And then the second is a trivia question. Your Netflix, are they in Tagalog or in mix? Yeah. Kay Junior.
I'll answer the first one first because that's easy. It will be in both English, Tagalog, and Bisaya, in fact. No, so it will come out to be in all languages, but it will come out by January of next year. Okay, and the other question was, okay, the most common failure of business is not really about profitability. The most common failure the main reason for failure of business is not profitability, it's cash flow. And the problem is a big problem of both social enterprise and entrepreneurs is their weakness in financial understanding and wellness. And this has been a problem. So the difference between the entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur, she doesn't have as much support than the entrepreneur. The social entrepreneur, however, has more heart in doing the things that he's doing in order to help his community. That is where he is stronger than the entrepreneur. So together, I think, the wisdom and a network of the entrepreneurs is something that we could actually provide them, and their heart is something that will also be nice for us, because we will start to rethink why are we doing things, um, for what purpose. This My involvement with them, every time I go around the country now, every time I go on a trip, I see somebody who tells me every weekend I go up the mountains because I'm trying to help the indigenous people there come up with products to be able to sell. And I remember my life of the past, which just every time I win the weekend, I find a new other business to go into in order to make money for myself. So if we want to support them, really, it's a lot of training. They don't have the time to train. That's why we thought of the Netflix so that they could just use their phone. They watch Netflix there anyway. So, and find out how we could actually be more effective in creating the films and all that stuff to be able to push to them. So we will be maybe even calling some of you to be able to come up in films and blah, so that we could share maybe some of the lessons that you have learned as Rotarians in how you would want a social enterprise to run.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, man.
All the best, Prof.
Thank you, po.
Okay, no more questions? Rodrigo, por favor.
Thank you for your talk today. Very interesting. I am from Colombia, and what's been happening in my country is the mafias and all this stuff have been sponsoring or growing cocaine all around the country. Now, when the government comes in, they take out these mafias and these people out of their territories, but the problem is the population that actually live out of it. Now, the replacement programs they have is basically oriented towards agriculture and probably products they produce in the regions. But then there are several problems with that. Not only the financial aspect of it, but also what they produce, they fall in the hands of intermediaries, which are the ones controlling the transportation, means coming out from those regions. And the government is not supporting anymore at that time. So the intermediaries actually are the ones benefiting from these programs, and many NGOs have fallen into that particular trap. I don't know how you are doing not to fall in the hands of these intermediaries, because even though the program is well-intentioned, the outcome can be compromised because of these guys. And I don't know how you are dealing with that, because roads and transportation is sometimes very difficult to get to the markets. So can you comment on that, please?
I don't know about Colombia, but I think the situation here is a little bit similar. Okay, maybe we don't have they're not called mafias, but they could be called in other terms. Um, uh, a lot of it also has to be in the context of governance. Even in our own organizations, we have to ensure governance. And when I teach my students, and I ask people about if you really want to understand whether there's a good organization that's being run, is there good governance? Is the question. And even if it's political institutions, is the governance being done? For example, right now I'm running a social enterprise. In order for us to don't deal with this, let's say, it's very easy for me to go to to get a contract from the government, maybe worth $500,000 or $1 billion. But I have to deal with what they call the SOPs, which I will not do so. But in order for me not to do so, even if the pressure is there, I got one of my trustees is Father Anton Pascual, who is a priest, which even if I look the other way, will slap my face back to reality. And in order to be able to deal with the government better, I got DTI Secretary, former Secretary Mon Lopez to become part of my trustee in order to be able to attack it from the top. in order to take away the corruption in between. So the long-term solution really would be governance and transparency. That's the long-term solution. In the meantime, though, everybody will have to do its own effort in how to be able to go through this. No? The problems of the military are a bit the same, no? Given with the insurgents and all that stuff. And sometimes there are even collaborators between them. And both get destroyed in the process. But at the end, it's really the governance side of it. And so we ask them, who is controlling the military? Who's controlling this? If they have better governance, then people will believe them more. I hope I answered your question, but I will research about Colombia a little more and have a sit-down discussion with you.
That's a long one.
Okay, we'll
Anyway,
have the
thank you
second
very
to the
much.
last question.
Thank you very much.
Last question. Muy guapa.
Good afternoon, Professor Jay. I'm actually one of the social entrepreneurs you trained in Mayan Academy in 2018. So I just want to say I'm one of the beneficiaries
Wow.
of how great Bayan Academy is. And it is so true. And you told us that we're all heart, not really business sense, but because of Bayan Academy, we're still CSR of Globe. We are still CSR of BPI. And I do talk about Bayan Academy a lot, to the point that I get invited to talk to marketing courses, and they call me emotional marketing. So yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
great. So anyway, I just want to say I enjoyed your talk, and I'm so happy to see you here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, too.
Now we'd like to call on our top con president for his response.
There aren't any more questions. I thought somebody was raising his hand. Was it you, Jun? Any questions?
No, I.
Okay. Anyway, again, I'd like to echo what others have said about your talk today, Professor Jay. It's been a great talk, and listening to you, and as you talked about it earlier prior to the meeting, you know, a lot of your activities are really almost mirror image of what we are trying to do in the Rotary Club of Makati, not just in Makati, but in other Rotary clubs. And I think there's a lot of commonality here that we can try to put together. There was a question raised as to how we can move forward on this. Clearly, it's not something that can be covered in a question and answer session. If I may suggest, perhaps we could do some sort of mini planning session with your staff. And along that line, I honestly believe that maybe, you know, we've got Lee here, classmate Lee here. Maybe we can open it up to a district-wide type of a seminar. We can, DG and Reggie, you know, maybe we can speak with our DG officers and see how we can organize district-wide, which means about 100 clubs who could be present, who can listen, because a lot of ideas are, you know, coming from our membership. No, I'm talking about the Rotary Club membership, not just our club. So perhaps that would be a very concrete step. Maybe, Reggie, with your assistance, we could try to put something together. On our end, on the Makati Club front, I was just chatting here with Neil. I didn't realize that Claire is actually on your board, is it? You know, we should give Claire a big hand there. Camille, sorry. Sorry, Camille. She's on the board of their organization, and you know, she's a bridge that maybe we could use. And the idea here, maybe you talk about mentors, right? You talk about looking at the profile of people here who could certainly be giving advice, talks, etc. You know, you've got Roger there, who's a serial entrepreneur. He surely, even if he's in Singapore or something, he can participate in a Zoom seminar, right? In other words, we can create some sort of a committee, subcommittee of volunteer mentors, right? We can try to figure out what particular topics could be of interest, and then we can then match that with some of our members with their respective areas of expertise. And that's a very concrete way, inexpensive way of doing it. And we can do it via Zoom, no? And of course, the third thing that we can actually do is actually look at actual project in need. And we will take a look at our resources. We do have a budget, but we are, of course, trying to optimize our budget allocation. But that's another very concrete way that perhaps we could actually, write out a check for any of your project that you may deem uh, needed immediately and right now. So those are my reactions, Jay, and it's been great to see you here, the son of my professor in AIM. Jay's father, June, was our professor in just quantitative analysis. For those of you who went to AIM, you know what I'm talking about. He's a great teacher, and I can see that very much so that Jay is very much following the footsteps of his father. No? And so with that, Jay, I'd like to thank you for gracing us with your presence. It's been very useful and very informative, and I'm sure we can do something very concretely, and we need to just follow up and implement what we just talked about. Again, Jay, maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And along this
Now-
line, yeah, you've got an announcement. I was going to just gonna hand it, or do we? Okay. All right. So thank you, boy. And we have this. You might wonder what this certificate of appreciation is all about and why we have that silver thing there. No, one of our advocacies is actually a reef bud project, trying to regenerate reefs, coral reefs that have deteriorated over time because of dynamite fishing and all that. No, and so one of our projects involved this, wherein we put together a structure where we are trying to regenerate, in fact, reef. No, and this comes in the form of cones that are actually embedded in the sea. And this particular plaque, each plaque are sort of nailed into that concrete so that it's there. So this is what we're giving to you, and I'd like to read very quickly. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Professor Francisco J. Bernardo for sharing his time and expertise as a guest speaker of the Rotary Club Makati. This is a steel plate to repeat to be put on a reef bud that will be planted in the sea of Sulbec, Narvacan, Ilocos Sur, or for that matter, any other coral reef regeneration area that we may be able to identify as part of our Save Our Reefs project, a major environmental initiative of our club, given this 12th day of September. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank
again.
you.
And we have this coffee table book. Our past president, Eddie Yap, talked about our legacy. As you can see here, we've gone back a long way. This was published 2021, but now we're on our 58th year. And so, but this gives an idea of kind of profile of members that we have. All right. And while reading that,
This is the Avenger book.
absolutely. And in this regard, as you go through that book, we'll like to give you this bottle of wine. Thank you very much again, Jay. Okay.
I'd also like to give something for everybody. I brought right before Ed Mulato died, he actually created a book, his 50th book, and it was about me. So I brought a copy. I didn't want it to be sold in the bookstore, so I bought all of them. So now it's all in my house and I have to get rid of them. So I brought some of them today and I hope it will fit. I think I brought about 40 today. And just pick it up from that table, but it's that.
Gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. Now, we'd like to call our president to do the adjournment of our meeting today.
Well, in behalf of the Rotary Club of Makati, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, March.
Hindi mo pala